do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Jen Cruz, and this is the Journey Radio Show. And hey, we're showing up as the She-Squatchers. So I've got my trusty teammate Tammy Trickle with me tonight. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, everybody.
And unfortunately, Jenna couldn't join us tonight. She was elsewhere occupied. I don't even know if that's a word, but hey, she's not here. And we're going to miss her greatly. So hi, Jenna out there in Never Neverland.
Hi, Jenna.
And hey, I want to send a special shout out to Snooki in the chat room. Always love to see you there, and everybody else who's there too. Cat and Ceiling Cat and everybody who's there. Aria. Awesome. I love that name. So tonight we have a very special guest back for part 2 of our show, because we had Jason Weaver on last week, and so many people were asking to have him back on the show. So I thought, just a swing in the dark, hey, are you available again next week? And he said yes. Yay. So thanks for joining us again tonight, Jason. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Very good. Very good. So, and when I asked Jason, I said, do you think you have enough stories to fill another hour? And he said, oh, yeah.
Piece of cake. Truly, it's a piece of cake.
All right. Well, ready, set, go.
Okay. Where do we start? Did you guys have any luck with my address today, by chance?
Tammy.
Well, the things that I saw were very interesting. I saw what I think is a portal because of the way that the images were moving. They looked like they were moving. And then I saw an entity there. It was not a Bigfoot that I saw. It was a darker entity. I didn't look at it for very long. I only looked at it for about 5 minutes before I had to get back to baking all my stuff for Thanksgiving. But that is what I saw. And what did you see, Jen?
All right, for the listeners out there who are like, what are they talking about? The She-Squatchers team were made up of psychic mediums, and we can remote view locations from a distance. And we hone in on specific locations by looking at Google Earth or Google Maps and satellite imagery of a location, and start asking questions about what is there. And then what we see on the image changes according to whatever we're asking and whatever is there. So I didn't have a lot of time to look today, but I did peek for a little bit, and actually came back to it a few times, doing little peeks when I had a minute. And I did see one Bigfoot in the neighborhood. It wasn't real close to your house at the time, but there was one back there in the woods. So I did see that. I wasn't looking for anything else. I was specifically honing on Bigfoot. So, and I know you have chickens at the neighbors.
Yeah, we got chickens.
Got chickens.
We got chickens.
But, good news is I did see there was Bigfoot activity back there. So, yay.
Well, that explains the monkey noises.
There you go.
I think whatever's back there, it's messing with me. And it's very, what's the word I want to look for? Mischievous. It's not, I can't say it's anything ugly or evil. It's just what it is. It just is whatever it is. But it's messing with me, and it knows it's messing with me, and that's what kind of makes me snicker, because I know it knows that I know it's messing with me. So if that makes any sense to you, but
For sure.
But yeah, I'm glad. I was wondering what happened today, because my house has been just completely disheveled all day today. I've been sick, and we got a lot of stuff going on with holidays, and my girlfriend is a nurse and she works nights, and she has to work tonight. She had to work last night. She doesn't work tomorrow, but dinner's all taken care of as far as that's concerned, because we just did Cracker Barrel. We did the Cracker Barrel deal, so we can just drive up, pick it up, warm it up, eat it up, that kind of thing. But I told you before the show started, I left the sunroof open on my girlfriend's car today, and then the rain came through for about 2 hours before we discovered that right at the time she's going to work, it was not a good scene, and I haven't been feeling well. So I knew I threw that address out to you all, and I wanted to know what happened, because you guys do what you do, and I don't, I'm kind of new to this part of it. I've always been able to kind of see things, but I didn't really know about this, what we talked about the last time, as far as empath sensitive stuff. I didn't know that that's what was going on with me. I just, I thought everybody did this, talk about your gut instinct and your gut instinct and your intuition and that kind of stuff. I've been ignoring it for so long in my life. It's just been here in the last 10 or so years that I've really started to be like, okay, well, this is how it is. And I can't turn around. I got to just keep pressing on, and whatever happens, happens. People stick, people peel. You know what I'm saying? People peel off, people stay in your life, people peel off no matter what happens. But as long as I stay constant, the ones that matter will stay. And that's, so this whole empath stuff is really, and it seems to flare up when I'm sick. I feel real. I've been sick the last couple of days. I've had a sinus infection with allergies, and I let it get out of hand, and so I'm battling my way back. But I was just wondering, what you guys found when you looked around, in the backyard today, because, like I said, there's something back there, and I hear flutes, and I hear, as I described on the message to you on Facebook, the sounds like the 2-note xylophone playing all the time. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, clack. And it always happens like between 11:30 at night and 2:30 in the morning. And sometimes if I'm out there at 5:30, sometimes I'm out there at 5:30 in the morning. Just depends on how well I've slept and that kind of thing. But I'm an early riser, so if I'm up at 5:30, I'm up at 5:30, and I'll hear it out there. And like I said, I don't see anything. I hear something out there, but I can't say that it's definitively 2-footed or 4-footed or, but I hear something out there, and the sounds, and, I'm not the only one that hears them. So I've had people that have sat out on my back porch that don't live with me that will validate that I'm having some weirdness behind my house. So it is what it is. What do you do?
Gotcha.
You just protect yourself, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm sick right now, so I feel a little. I just feel terrible right now, and the stress of the 2020, and we've had a lot happen this year ourselves. Just personally, we've moved, and we've had to put a dog down, and I've had it's just been a terrible year. I mean, I can't. And I'm trying to shed that because, I usually don't let things rock me too much, but this year has been kind of rough on me. So this empath sensitive stuff it's not helped, to be honest with you. I feel quite muddled. I feel very muddled. And so I was glad that you guys at least can see something, that there is something here. Right. I mean,
Okay, there is something I just want to say about that. So you talked about being empathic and having a harder day today. I'm just going to tell you that whenever it rains, when there's moisture in the air, or when you're in the shower, those things are going to be heightened. For me, that's always true. And for my Reiki students, that's also been true. I know it's true for Jenna, and other people too, that when you're around the water and the moisture, it just becomes stronger. And water is a conductor, so it just amplifies that.
Yep.
Would you agree, Tammy?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm struggling with things and I need to get connected better, I will take a bath and just close my eyes and lay back, and it hits you a lot easier when you're in water.
So, as far as being an empath, typically, and this is a Native American teaching from my tribe, but typically men and women are each half male and half female.
Right.
And so if you represent that by a medicine wheel, which is a circle with a cross inside, half of that represents the male side and half represents the female side. And the male side is typically representing the physical aspects of things, such as the thoughts that you're aware of in your body. And men are really comfortable on their half. Okay.
Yeah.
But then when you go through the circle, through the physical aspect, you start to enter the female aspect of the circle. And that starts with emotions.
Oh, you're going to make me cry now.
and then once you get through that, then you get into what we call the spirit. And spirit quadrant is, I like to explain that as your awareness of all the things that awareness of everything that you're interconnected with all things. Okay, so that awareness of being interconnected with all things. And so typically women are more comfortable on their half of the circle, which is the feeling emotions and having the awareness of their interconnectedness with all things. And so when men come around the circle and they enter the emotional part, most men are not very comfortable feeling their own emotions, are they?
That's true. No, it's true. It's very true.
Then add to that feeling someone else's emotions. I mean, it gets over the top for them.
Yep. Well,
women,
yeah. I mentor a lot of people, and I have a lot of people that I have to explain to them that men are thinkers and women are feelers, and it's not that men can't feel and women can't think, but when it comes to life on life's problems or life on life's terms, men think their way through it. What's the problem? I got to fix it because I got a lot of other problems, but I'm going to make your problem first. We make your problem a priority, whereas women can just want to say, can't you see I have a problem? And all they want is to be, or all I think females want is to be acknowledged. They just want it to be acknowledged. And, that doesn't necessarily mean I have to fix it. But see, that male, you know what I'm talking about, that primal thing. You keep the family protected in the cave. You keep, you know what I mean? You got that primal thing going on there, and you can't, this is why men process their hurt through anger. When they get hurt, they get angry because that's the only thing they know. And, when you start to try to maneuver your way through life, I've come a long way with this. It's not taken, it's not just yesterday. This has taken a lifetime for me to, it's taken 3 failed marriages for me to realize that I don't know how to have a relationship, but I know how not to have one, so that's what I focus on, is what not to do. I will not do this. I will not tolerate that, and so on and so forth. And there's certain, I stay a course, and I try to be true to myself. So when I lay my head down at night, I can live with myself, because that's who I have to live with. And, when you're navigating through a world, God forbid, a world in 2020. I mean, when you're dealing with a world like that, like you said, when you're an empath, I feel like it's the whole world's on me, and I have to shut down. And that's what happened to me today. I was driving and I was not feeling well, and I'm dealing with people mad because they want to get home because it's Thanksgiving, and I'm just trying to get down the road, and I don't feel well, and all I want to do is just hit the door and hit the couch because I'm sick. And, nothing else matters. But I'm not normally like that. I'm usually very conscious and aware of what's going on around me and my fellow man and that kind of stuff. But today's been a rotten day, man. It's been heavy. It's been a heavy day. And it's hard for me to, I'm able to do it right now because this is the first time I've had to it was just an hour ago I was worried about having to get a Christmas tree because we were supposed to decorate a Christmas tree for Thanksgiving. This was the plans. Well, I'm sick. I can't do it. So, it's going to have to be Saturday. We're going to have to wait till Saturday.
And that's okay.
But I have to peel back the world's layers so I can get to my own onion and start working on my own onion. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to So I want to talk about Bigfoot and wild stuff. I don't want to talk about real life issues. I want to talk about, the stuff we're here for. You know what I mean?
All right.
But anyway.
We do have a question in the chat room that's asking us if we've ever seen any elementals in a remote view. I'll let Tammy answer that quick first.
I have, actually. I have seen elementals not only in remote view, but in real life as well, and in photographs and all sorts of things. I deal with entities that a lot of people don't deal with. I do cleansings and portal closings and things like that. So I deal with a lot of things. And a lot of people are scared of elementals because, they kind of look creepy sometimes. But
and if you
not
see them,
everything
people will
that's
think you're
dark
not.
is
Oh,
evil.
I'm sorry. I was going to say,
Right.
when you see an elemental, you're almost hesitant to tell anybody because they'll think you're crazy.
Oh, I'm not hesitant. I
don't
video.
care if people think
I
I'm
have
crazy.
video.
Yeah, I hear you.
Video.
I know.
I have pictures. I can pull up Google Earth and show them to you on your own phone, on an active map. So I am not scared to tell people that I see elementals. And I'm Native American. I'm obviously not fully Native American, but I'm part Native American, and I'm a member of the Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians in northern Minnesota. And what people call elementals, our tribe calls water spirits. And I have encountered them on many occasions and interacted with them. And I have video of them up close and personal. And they're sentient, they're intelligent, they're not solid. They're also what people call the classic orange orb UFOs that are always reported, because they don't stay in the water, they fly out of the water. So I mean, I have lots of experience with that. So
Wow.
and they go through solid objects, they're not solid, and so their existence is different than ours. They are a life force, they're sentient beings, they can communicate, and just but their bodies are different than ours. Their bodies are different than ours. So yes, Kat, I have video of them. I can, if you send me your email address somehow or some way. She-Squatchers@yahoo.com is my email address. She-Squatchers@yahoo.com, your email address, and I will send you screenshots of the video because it's so hard to see them when they move fast, because they move so fast. So I have to pause the video, take a screenshot, and then catch it, because it's moving around so fast. And I know Tammy's seen the video. It moves so fast. If you blink, you miss it. But
Yes. But the water spirits are not the only intimate elementals. That's just one of them. There are
True.
lots of them. There
I was
are
going to say,
earth
Bigfoot's
ones
an elemental,
and...
right? I mean, Bigfoot's an elemental when you stop and think about it. I mean, some depending on
Kinda,
which side of the
maybe.
fence you land. I think they are myself personally, but that's because I don't know what they are. Elemental sounds like a great label to throw on them, but I think they are. I do.
Well, an elemental is to protect the environment, to protect the earth. So, I mean, maybe Bigfoot is, maybe if it's not an elemental, maybe it is working with elementals. But yeah, I think that they are very protective of the environment, of their environment.
Well, I'm not sure if I shared the story about walking my dog in the backyard. Did I tell you all about that story at our old house about seeing the thing? I've told a couple of people the story, so I don't share this all the time, but I fell into a group of people I was real comfortable sharing it with, and maybe I was in there sharing it. But when I first moved to Georgia in 2013, a few months after I moved here, my girlfriend and I, we adopted Cash, my dog Cash. And Cash is a super cool dog, but he tends to have to go outside at very inconvenient times, at like 3 a.m, like that. And so one morning, it was one of those mornings, it was a summer morning, and it was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and he has to go out. So I open up the garage door and usually take him out the garage door. And when you come out the garage, you bear to the left, and there's a big strip of lawn there. And then as you walked into the backyard, so I'd usually walk him right there. We had an apple tree there in the yard, and walk him around there. And we happened to come around the corner of the house, and we both stopped to see this something flying from a crepe myrtle branch in our backyard to the ground, to the branch, to the ground, to the branch. And it was green, and it was everything you can imagine something like this to look like. You know, I saw wings, and I saw humanoid legs and humanoid arms, and I saw dark spots where eyes should be. And my dog and I are both watching this happen. And Cash shifted his weight or something that caused his rabies tag to jingle on his collar. And this thing became aware of that we were there, and just flew into the darkness in our in the yard, in our neighbor's yard. Just flew right back into the darkness like it was. So I go in the house, got to tell somebody, hey, I just saw a fairy in the backyard. Now, who wants to tell somebody that, you know? But here we are. This is when things started to really open up for me. It was 2012, 2013. I started really, I've always been able to. When I was a kid, I used to see things all the time. And you know how it is. You grow up, and I don't know if it has to do with what happens to your pineal gland, or if what happens with the world shutting you down. I think it's a lot of both, But I shut down a lot of this. But I used to see a lot of things. I used to see, I used to have when I was a little boy in our farmhouse growing up, a World War I soldier used to come and sit down on my bed and pat my leg to kind of reassure me that he was not there to hurt me or anything like that. Pat my leg. And then in the same breath, I had something real creepy, like a wraith looking thing, or wraithy looking thing, climbing up the same farmhouse wall, trying to get me, at some point. So, I mean, a lot of this I've had to just, people like my favorite saying is, people will think your cheese has slipped off your cracker if you talk about this if you're not in the right circles. So, for me to talk about elementals or anything like that, I mean, Bigfoot was a little bit far-fetched enough to talk about something like that, but to have elementals popping up in your backyard, I mean, you don't want to go to your best Bigfoot guy buddy and say, hey man, you're never going to guess what I saw in the backyard. What'd you see? A green thing about 4 inches tall, flying around, Tinkerbell, you saw Tinkerbell? What'd you see? Yeah. I mean, what do you say? So a lot of it, I just, kind of just forget it's there. It just becomes backdrop or background, whatever. I have to, I have to let a lot of it go. And I think over the years, I told you, since I had this little deal happen in the woods on that hiking trail with the no, and that something happened to me there. And like I said, I don't know if I got tuned in or I got a channel cleared. I had something happen to me, because since then, it's been like this. It's been, Barnum and Bailey circus in my backyard. It's stuff like that. But what do you do?
True.
Try to peel, and I'm trying to do what I can do. But I've always done it this way, and I don't always know if this is the right way to do it. Is to just press on. You get a big case of the effets, and you just put your head down, and because this is a wild world, y'all. We live in a wild world. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And you either see it or you don't. You're awake or you're not. There's no, people say to me, oh, I just can't wait to see a Bigfoot. Well, you're out of your mind, because it just changes your whole perspective of things. My life was never the same after, I'm just now coming, I'm 51, 40 years later, I'm just now becoming okay with it, but for a long time, it was a big, solid concrete fist in my stomach that I couldn't tell nobody about. What do you do? So venues like this have really helped. I could talk about it. You learn in recovery, you keep what you have by giving it away. So, I try to tell people, don't believe me, but, don't deal with it the way I've dealt with it. If you can do anything, don't do it that way. Try to do it a better way. But, now a lot of this, I'm just learning as I go, but I'm trying to apply the old, I don't know what you call them, defense mechanisms, the whole, I don't know what you call it. It's
we have
weird.
another question in the chat room. The chat room's very active tonight, so I try to keep up with that. And so if I miss your question, I'm sorry. But Kat is asking, what or is there a difference between Fae and elementals? Tammy.
Well, I think that Fae are also elementals. They are more of the protectors of whatever, there are tree fairies, there are rock fairies, there are garden fairies, there's all sorts of fairies. So whatever they are protecting is where you will find them and what they're doing. I used to have pictures. I used to have pictures back in the day, but I've seen orange fairies and green fairies in trees. I've seen a green elf-ish thing. I don't think it was an elf, but it had pointy ears and it was way, way big and it didn't have wings. But I've seen all sorts of things. So that they are definitely an elemental themselves. Like I said, they all come in different sizes and they all look different depending on what they're doing. Not just fairies, but all the elementals. There's things that come from the earth and they're of the earth, and there's things from the air and the water, and anything that has to do with nature, there is a protector for it. So there's lots of elementals.
And nature spirits
Mm-hmm.
is what some people call them. And I think that when we're talking about Fae or little people or Bigfoot, all these things are reported worldwide from different cultures and different places. They may call them by a different name. But when you look into those things and you see what have they described as, what do they look like, what are they doing, you can see, oh wait, that's like sounds like this that they're talking about over here that they call by another name. So it's Fae is one word for what I would call nature spirits or little people. And in Native American teachings, there's all different kinds of little people. There's the river people, there's the mound people that live under the hills. There's the water people, the rock people, and they're all forms of little people. They look different, they do different things. And this may sound like fairy tales to some people, but once you start seeing things like that, and if you're in a group and your group is seeing them all at the same time. I had an experience where I was out at the sweat lodge teaching outdoor classroom, and we were having a classroom outside, and I noticed what I saw as these 5 little faces that looked like somebody had carved them into the bottom of this tree. And it was just so perfect. And it wasn't like, hey, those kind of look like faces. They were like 5 little grapefruit sized faces that were all just this huge smile, like, hey, I'm so happy to be here. And they were perfect. And I thought, well, I've never noticed that before. Who did that? And what's going on here? And as I wouldn't take my eyes off of it, I walked straight up to my native elder and I pointed at it and I said, what do you see there at the base of that tree? What do you see there at the base of that tree? And he said, oh, those are the little people. They're here to help me teach this class.
Oh.
And he said, they'll only be there for a while and then they'll be gone. Well, we had our lunch break and I took my eyes off of it. And when I looked back again, it was gone. It looked like a regular tree again. So, and I had my eyes on this thing for more than 30 minutes. And every time I go back out there, I'm always looking at the trees, like looking to see if I can see that again. And that's, it. Too many things have happened. And the fact that I pointed at the tree and said, what do you see at the base of that tree there? I didn't say, what are those faces? I asked him, what does he see there? And,
right.
That I'm very careful about doing that.
You ask your questions very pointedly.
Well, I don't want to influence the answer.
Right.
I want the answer that they're seeing, their perception of things. And I call them my little perception experiments as well, but everybody perceives things in their conscious awareness, and it might not be the exact same thing that somebody else is seeing, because what are the chances out of the 200 or the 2,000 bytes of awareness that we're aware of every single second in the conscious mind versus the 400 billion bytes of awareness that we have in our subconscious mind? What are the chances that we're all aware of the same exact 2,000 bytes? There's absolutely no chance in the world that it's the same.
Right.
So we have to be perceiving things a little bit differently. And if we ask those questions just very specifically, we can get a glimpse at what somebody else is seeing and aware of.
Very
So
well said.
Yeah. So
Well
we're
said.
going to go to our break now. So please stay tuned and we'll be right back. This is working out well with the questions.
Mm-hmm.
More stories? You want more stories? What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want to hear? You want to hear Bigfoot story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Bigfoot stories.
Yeah, you were talking about like the different that people call them different things, and I have actually a guidebook. And if I'd known we were going to talk about this, I would have grabbed it. That somebody has written, and it's got pictures and drawings of like the different critters and such. It obviously is not all of them, but it's some of them, and it's very helpful. So I would have grabbed it.
Yeah. Well, you know, the way she described elementals, I mean, it's like humans. I mean, there's all sorts of human. What define a human? You know, I mean, well, there's all sorts of humans. You know, there's tall ones, there's short ones, there's big ones, there's small ones, there's, you know, there's it's a wide spectrum, and I'm sure it's true in elemental land too, or worlds, or whatever you want to call it. It's very interesting to me. I don't tell that fairy story to too many people. I mean, I'm really.
It's a bruise.
Oh, I was like, would you get a new tat? No, that's not a tat.
No, it's a bruise from kickboxing.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
They don't play.
No, they don't.
I'm not hearing you, Sarge. I can hear you coming in.
30.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I was noticing your bruises there, Tammy. I was like, wow.
You know, it did look like Texas.
No, it's looking like Puerto Rico.
This is from a French boy in my class. He's probably about 20. I have an Italian one that kicks me in the back of my leg. Go.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. Hey, this is the Journey Radio Show, and we are the She-Squatchers. Won't you check us out online at She-Squatchers.com? And hey, we're on Facebook at She-Squatchers Official. Come check out our page and like us there for all the latest of what we've got going on. And hey, we have a YouTube channel at She-Squatchers Official. Please come subscribe to our channel, and you'll get to see all what we're doing out there and what we've done in the past and all that fun stuff. So please come subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And tonight we've got Jason Weaver with us. He's got some more Bigfoot stories. So we're going to get on with that. All right, Jason, tell us more about your Bigfoot experience.
Just before we went to break, you were talking about all the elemental world and how there's many kinds and different forms and that kind of stuff. And I had a First Nations elder say to me once that he said, Jason, Bigfoot, UFOs, the paranormal, ghosts, whatever you want to call it, it's all part of man's great truth, is what he told me. You know, now he's trying to give me some words of encouragement to push me through, because this was back in 2011, I guess, when I was really starting to venture out into the woods by myself after 30 years or 40 years, however long it had been. But I used to live in East Tennessee. I don't know if you're familiar with East Tennessee. There's an attraction there called the Lost Sea. Have you all ever heard of it? It's a big underground lake. It's a big lake. They got big trout, blind trout to swim around in there, and it's underneath this mountain that has a lot of magic around it. Okay, a lot of magic, and they have the moonshiners have they had stills in the caves, and the Native Americans had stills in the caves, and the rebel soldiers had stills, and everybody's had, or I'm sorry, the natives didn't have stills in this. Everybody's used these caves for different things over the years. But so they had the moonshiners, and then the natives did all sorts of rituals and that kind of stuff, over the generations that these caves and whatnot were there. A lot of magic on this mountain. When you're driving up this highway heading towards Cherokee National Forest, like Tellico Plains, Tennessee, I'm trying to kind of lay it out for you. The Lost Sea is on your left, heading into that area, and you'll come to the main entrance, and then you drive maybe a half a mile, quarter of a mile to a half a mile down the road, and there's a service road. It's got a gate, got a fence, says no trespassing, whatever, and it's just a little. Just a dirt road. It's not even dirt. It's just a couple of tracks with some grass between the trail, the tracks, that kind of thing. And my native friend told me to go up there to face my fear and to sit in the woods near an area where I feel comfortable and put a blindfold on and let everything else tune up. Your sense of smell, your sense of hearing, that kind of thing. And I'm in an area that like I said, it's on this mountain. Got a lot of magic on this mountain. And I heard 2 or 3 footfalls while I have this blindfold on, rushing up to me, and something slapped the hat off top of my head. And I had a ball cap on, slapped my hat off. And when it hit I heard it running, and my fear wanted me to run away from it when I was listening to it, but I just sat there. So I'm tensed up hearing this footfall, and then I feel this whack on the back of my head, and I feel my hat fly off. So I take my blindfold off, and there's nobody out there. I'm completely by myself where I was. And it took me probably 12, 15 minutes maybe to hike up to where I was at. It took me all of about 2 minutes to get out of there, flying down the hill. But this mountain has a lot of activity around it. I have a friend that's a realtor. They live on the other side of the mountain. They've had weird things happening in their yard. They had a gutter spout yanked off their house that had a nest of squirrels in it. And something took down this gutter spout and ripped the gutter spout apart to try to get to these squirrels. And it wasn't a bear that did this. It's a metal gutter, something ripped into this thing to try to get whatever was living or nesting in it, which was squirrels. Took it right off her house. She had no idea what was going on. She's talked about having slaps on her house. She's felt like something's been staring at her through the windows. So I've talked to other Bigfoot researchers, and they've called her and they've made appointments to go out there, but they never go out there. I don't know if something tells them not to go. Because she's fine with it. Come on out. But there's a lot of strange things on this mountain. I have a friend that lived on the next ridge over on the other side of the highway. And she's a little old lady, lived up there. Her great aunt lived on this hill. And she's like, 90-something-year-old woman, lives in a little one-room house up there. She has power and she has water, but she doesn't have internet. She doesn't have television. She has radio. I showed her a picture of a Bigfoot track that I had found in the area on my phone. Hey, have you ever seen one of these? And I showed her, and she looked at it and she went, that's one of them woolly booger tracks. We got them all over up here. Just like it was no big deal. This little 90-year-old lady saw my track and said, that's a woolly booger track. Got them all over up here. Ain't no big deal. People should take heed. There's something going on. little old ladies, little old mountain folk ladies they're not one to put off on people, to try to pull hoaxes or try to, pull one over, pull the wool over somebody's eyes when it comes to something like that. It's just not in their nature to do that. That's why that you just firmed it for me that I know what it was that I saw as a kid. I don't know, had I had parents or grandparents that were like these mountain folks, I probably would have been a lot better off because they seem to know a lot more than my folks cared to know about it anyway. I don't know. But anyways, I wanted to just tell you about a couple of spooky things that had happened around this particular mountain in East Tennessee.
What is the name of that mountain again?
I don't know the name of the mountain, but the attraction, the tourist attraction that is there is called the Lost Sea.
Okay.
I don't know what the name of the mountain is or whatnot, but yeah, it's pretty easy to find. If you drive up Interstate 75, you're bound to see a billboard on the side of the road talking about the Lost Sea. It's one of those type of places you pull over and pay a few bucks, and your family will go down into the ground and look at blind fish, and it's that kind of place. It's pretty cool, but the whole mountain has got a lot of, I call it's a magic mountain. There's a lot of things that happen on that mountain.
Is that Sweetwater, Tennessee?
Yep, sure is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, between Sweetwater and Madisonville is where the Lost Sea is. And my ex-wife, I have a couple of those, but my last ex-wife, she was born and raised in Monroe County. That's also the same county that Janice Carter, the Carter Farm. I don't know if you're familiar with 50 Years of Bigfoot, Mary Green and Janice Carter. Mm-hmm. Same county. I've been to the Carter Farm a couple of times. I've checked out the Scat Barn and all of that. I've been there. Cool place, but that's the same county. And my ex-wife's, when she was a little girl, her dad, they rented a house right there on that same highway. I think it's 68. And she can remember, she lived within walking distance of the Lost Sea. Her house was within walking distance of the Lost, of the cave. It was very, very close to the cave. And she said that when her and her younger sister were little girls, they'd see Indian spirits, peeking in their windows and that kind of thing. There's a lot of magic on this mountain, I'm telling you. It's a wild place. But the Bigfoot they're all over that place. They're all over it. What do you do? They own the mountain. They got the mountain for sure. They and whoever else owns the mountain. But they rule the roost there for sure.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Scary too. I mean, to get slapped on looking back on it now is hilarious. Me running down the mountain, it was hilarious running away from that. But it took a lot of courage for me to go up there. And it took even more courage to put a blindfold on when I got up there, because it was all about facing my fear and doing it anyways. And that was really hard for me. I mean, this Bigfooting thing it's not for the faint of heart, for sure. There's a lot of wild things happen out there, and you got to figure out whether or not you're ready to embrace it or not. But anyway.
So is that what you had to share about the mountain?
Yeah, that's a crazy. Well, there's a lot of things about that mountain. Yeah, I mean, there's a little. It's like a little. They used to have like this little, like a craftsman's village, like where it's kind of like where people would wear period clothes and and do all sorts of period things, whether it's knitting or what am I looking for, weaving, or if it's whatever pioneer folks did in the mountains back then, or whatever you want to call them back then. They had like a little mountain village. It's all run down now, and there's little shacks everywhere, but that place is spooky as all get out. And I've done a lot of Bigfooting around in that area. There's all sorts of, any place you go that has words like cave and limestone in the names. They're all over those mountains. You can find all sorts of great Bigfooting areas through East Tennessee. There's a lot of them all the way up through to what is it, Rafter and Gudger up in that, or Rafter and what's that one place up there? Coker Creek up. I don't know if you're familiar with those areas, but a lot of mountains out there, and there's a lot of legends out there, and the Bigfoot are all over that place. Janice Carter. A lot of people give Janice Carter a hard time, but she can tell you which clans in Monroe County are aggressive and which ones aren't, which ones you better make sure you leave gifts for when you visit and which ones you better not. And, you know, it's Monroe County's that's a hotbed. There's a lot of wild stuff in Monroe County, Tennessee. I don't care what anybody tells you. That place there's wild stuff there.
Well, now I want to go there.
Yeah, you should check it out. One of
Hey,
y'all lives in Tennessee.
it's not
don't
that
you?
far from me, so
Yeah.
come on out.
Doesn't Jenna live in Tennessee too?
No, I live in
Oh.
Virginia Beach.
Oh,
Yeah, Tammy just moved to Virginia Beach from Minnesota. So she left our cold winters just in time.
do you all know Abe? Do you know Abe Del Rio?
Of
yeah.
course we do.
Abe and I are good buddies. He's my brother.
From another
Yeah.
mother.
Brother from another mother. Yeah. We've spent
I was
a
gonna
couple
say you don't look alike.
No, not at all. He didn't know how to take me at years when he and I first became friends. I asked him, I said, Are you native? And he went, what? You know, he got real defensive, like, why are you asking me that? You know, I'm like, because when he had his MNBRT radio,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He sounds native. He's, you know, he does to me. I don't know. He sounds native to me. I thought he was native.
He's Hispanic.
He is Hispanic. I know.
He doesn't even. I don't even think he speaks Spanish though. But
no, he doesn't.
He does have a kind of a Hispanic accent when he's talking, especially when you get him talking about tacos. Oh, he loves tacos.
Oh, does he? Well,
he does.
We've talked about Bigfoot, and he's very much from Minnesota as far as Bigfoot's concerned. I mean, he's from Minnesota. There's no. Yeah. See, I'm from upstate New York. We sound a lot like Minnesotans. I think it might be that. Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of out there and wickeds. A lot of wicked. They like the wicked. Oh yeah.
That's a New England thing. They don't say wicked in Minnesota.
They don't say wicked in Minnesota.
No. I went to high school in Massachusetts though, so I say wicked.
So wicked. Everything's wicked. Did you go to that party last night? Oh, wicked. How about that snow? Oh, wicked. You know, whatever.
Even like the Department of Transportation will put on their signs, wicked. It's wicked cold out.
Wicked cold. Yeah, I like that hillbilly weatherman. You know the hillbilly weatherman? Mm-mm. You should look him up. He's from New Hampshire or Massachusetts, something like that. He does the weather. Drops a lot of F-bombs in the middle of it. It's fun. It's fun.
There you go. There you go. Well, in Minnesota, we say a lot of oofta.
Mm-hmm.
What's that mean?
It's like oy vey. It's
okay.
I asked my grandma, what does it mean? And she said it kind of means, oh, crap. It's something you say when you don't know what else to say. Like, you could say it like, that's insanely wicked. You could say oofta. Or
Italians say minga.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, what is that?
Yeah. Or if somebody's having a bad day, oofta. You know, it's just really anything.
Right. It's like oi or
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maron.
But yeah, we have oofta tacos. Actually, oofta taco stands that travel around, and they're basically fry bread tacos. Like
fry bread's good though. I like fry bread.
Me too.
Get down on some fry bread.
Too much, actually. I just recently learned that you can make fry bread in an air fryer.
Oh yeah, nice. That's good to know.
Looking forward to trying that out.
I used to manage a pizza place years ago, and I taught them how to make bread dough. I'd have to teach my workers how to make bread dough, you know. And I said, bread dough is great because as long as you work in a pizza place, I said, you can always take a wad of dough home if you're hungry. Here, take a wad of dough home. You can fry it. You can do whatever you want with it. You know, there's a lot you can do with bread dough. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. So, but yeah, I used to take a lot of dough and cook it on the fire, man. That's the only way to make it. Love it.
There you go. Well, we've got about 10 minutes left of the show. What should we talk about?
How about that rain? God almighty.
It's not raining here.
It's not raining here either.
It's raining buckets here.
Isn't that the magic of the internet? We can talk to each other face to face and be thousands of miles apart.
So can we talk a little bit about Thanksgiving?
Okay.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
What are you guys having?
I'm having prime rib
Nice.
How about you?
at a
I'm
restaurant.
I'm having Cracker Barrel. I think it's roasted turkey, I think.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, I've been
Yeah.
cooking for half the day. I've made 2 pies and some cranberry sauce and green bean casserole and the sweet potato casserole, so that tomorrow I only have to do half as much. So that's what I've been doing all day.
I need to get that teleporter going on here so I can get to Tammy's house tomorrow.
Teleporter.
I want a teleporter.
What channel is this? I'm fascinated with time travel. Oh, that was something else I was going to tell you. Let me tell you something else that happened to me real quick. Do we have time? Yeah,
Sure.
we got time. Check this out. I'm fascinated with time travel, and I'll tell you why. I was just telling you about that Magic Mountain. Here's another crazy Magic Mountain story for you. I was driving to work one morning. I used to work at a hardwood flooring factory in another town over called Vonore. I don't know if you pulled the map up, Vonore. And I worked as a saw operator. I was an insurance agent for many years, and then when the recession hit in 2008, I had to find a right now job. So I got a job working as a saw operator in a hardwood flooring factory that they made hardwood flooring for tractor trailers, that kind of thing. Stoughton and Great Dane, companies like that. So anyway, they were real sticklers for punctuality. If you clocked in at 6:01 a.m., you were working the first hour for free. You were docked your first. If you were late, minute late, they dock you your first hour. Boom, just like that. So you had to really be on time. Well, at this point, I didn't want to mess up with that because you had so many hours. They called them, I don't know what they call it, excusable hours is what they called them. You had so many. And if you clocked in at 6:01, you worked the first hour for free, but they took it off on the backside. You had these 64 hours where they would take it. Now you have 63. If you don't miss another hour in 90 days, you get that hour back, that kind of thing. So I had to get to work, and I had to make sure I was there early. So I woke up usually about 4:30, and I'd be on the road usually by 5:30 to get to work by 6. Well, this one particular morning, it was really, really foggy. So I decided I better leave early. So I ended up leaving at about 5 in the morning. And where I lived at the time, Coast to Coast would play at 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. And then at 5 a.m., they would play the repeat hour of the first hour. They play the first hour again, like a repeat. And so I'm catching the first hour of Coast to Coast, and I'm driving down the road, and the fog is really thick. And it's like, you heard that expression, pea soup. It's thick as pea soup. This is pea soup fog, and not only is it thick as pea soup, but it's even the same color as pea soup. It's green. I mean, it's a green fog I'm driving through, and I'm driving down a highway that is asphalted. Lines are painted on the road, everything, okay? But it's so foggy that everything feels like I'm driving in a tunnel at this point, okay? So I haven't seen cars for a while on the road, and I'm listening to Coast to Coast. The new hour is starting, has the theme music going. I don't know if you all ever listened to the show, but it's got the theme music going on, and George Norrie does his deal, and that's cranking through there, and I'm listening, and I'm bebopping along, driving, but I'm driving very slow because of the fog. Well, radio ends up going out, and I'm like, what's going on? That never happens. And then I noticed that the road that I'm driving on, which, like I said, is an asphalted highway. It's a county highway. It's now, I don't see any lines on the road, and I'm on a gravel road, and then it's a dirt road. And I'm like, I haven't turned off this road. I can't be late for work. I'm like, what is going on? And I can't see any billboards. Driving down this road, there's billboards every few miles. You see billboards everywhere. It's very well lit. Can't see any of that. No landmarks at all. And I'm driving down this road, and I'm scared because I'm going to be late for work. And I see 2 little headlights coming my way. And I'm like, well, maybe that's a farmer. Maybe I got turned off the road. I don't, I didn't. There's no way to turn off of this highway. I mean, you can't just accidentally turn off of this road. And as the headlights are getting closer to me, they're real close together. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's a tractor or a four-wheeler or something like that. Well, as it gets up on me, as it's passing me, I look, and it's a 1900s, like 1920s, 30s truck, like what Pa Walton drove on the Waltons, that kind of truck. And there's a guy driving, and there's a little kid standing in the seat. He's got short little knicker pants on. He's got high socks. He's got a little brown coat, little brown hat, and he's leaning on like next to his dad against the truck seat, the bench seat. And they're looking at me like I'm a ghost. Their eyes are this big. I mean, like they're passing me, and I'm probably dumbfounded too as I'm passing them. Like, what the heck is this? And it just passed right by me because I'm hoping I can flag them down and find out, But when they pass me, it's almost like we were seeing a spirit of each other. Is the only way I can describe it. We both got big looks on our faces, and then the radio come back on. And I swear to God, I was driving on this road what felt like 30 minutes or better. And I'm concerned because I don't know where I'm at. And lo and behold, the radio comes back on. I look at the clock. I've lost no time. It's 10 after 5. I still have plenty of time. It was almost like I went through like a time storm or something. I don't know how to describe it, but that truck passing me, it'd make a great Ford F-150 commercial if there could be one, But it was like they passed me and I passed them, and they had this look like they were seeing ghosts. And it was weird. It was weird. Fog lifted, and I shared that story with Art Bell years ago. Before Art died, I shared that story with Art Bell, and he just went, "Wow." That's what he said to me. Wow. But it happened, and that's in that same stretch of road right there by that mountain. I mean, it's wild, but that's what happened to me there. I mean, it's a spooky place.
I've when we sometimes have gatherings, public events and gatherings in Minnesota where we ask the public to come and tell us about their Bigfoot experiences that they've had. And amazingly, at one of the events that we did that, people showed up and they were talking about seeing a Bigfoot, and then they all of a sudden saw a World War II plane fly over, and they're like, "What?" They were like, something's going on because that shouldn't be here.
Right. Well, see, that's what convinced me of this. Now quantum physicists they're all up on all this stuff. I don't know anything, okay, but from what I've gathered, they've proven that time happens. Everything in time happens constantly. It's not like the past, the present, the future. It's just time. And when you have slips like that, folds or whatever you want to call it, and whether it's, I mean, this was a foggy day, but I mean, it was, or a foggy morning, but it was very weird. I mean, electrical. It was electrical. That's the word I'm looking for. The fog, I described it to you earlier as being like pea soup green, but it was electrical. It was like, vibrant. I mean, it was weird. Strange.
Well, it's another mystery, and of course we don't know the answers, but it's fun to talk about them anyway, and
yep.
Maybe we'll know more later at another date. But that music tells us we're at the end of the show already, so we want to thank Jason Weaver for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, everybody was saying we want more of Jason Weaver, so we got him. Anyway,
you got him.
Thanks again, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be here next week with the Midnight Squatchers from Minnesota. So tune in then. Good night, everyone.
Bye.